look at restorative justice, the practice of circle keeping, and how it's used to reconcile and strengthen communities in Boston and beyond. Then, the city is investing into its street art from Allston to the North End. I'm joined by two artists who have made a name for themselves on the walls of this city. You may have heard the term restorative justice as the conversation about criminal justice reform has evolved in recent years. In this context, the practice brings the victims of crimes together with the person who committed them and other members of the community. The goal is reconciliation and for offenders to understand and repair the harm they've caused. It's derived from an indigenous practice called circle keeping, and it's about a whole lot more than just crime and consequences. Joining me with a fuller picture of the practice are Linda Solomon, a teacher and restorative justice coach with Boston Public Schools, and Chaplain Clementina Chéry, founder and CEO of the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, named after her son who was shot and killed by a stray bullet at age 15 back in 1993. Thank you so much for joining me today for this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking us to be here.
So we began hearing about restorative justice in the mainstream in terms of the criminal justice system, but that is not the beginning of it, is it?
Absolutely not. Restorative justice is, as you mentioned, is an indigenous practice that has been practiced worldwide, actually. And so there's nothing new about it. It is a practice that is based on community building, and it's a value-based way of being. And in this circle practice, everyone is valued for who they bring. There are no disposable people in circle in the restorative world. And we talk about restorative justice in school, then we talk about it in the criminal justice system, and I think that there's a slight difference in the way they both sort of operate, but it is an indigenous practice. It's something that more people should know about, and it clearly has tremendous benefits, without question.
Clementina, do you want to talk a little bit about what is restorative justice?
Yeah, so, for us, and, thank you for having me to be a part of this. I think for us, and, I'll go back before I share that definition, because when I hear of restorative justice, although it's an indigenous practice, there's so many definitions. And as you say, there's the school-based, there's the criminal justice. I'm literally reading a report by the state that talks about restorative justice, but nobody knew they did that report. And so I think I want to come at it from more of an individual. And I didn't know I was doing restorative justice until I went to an event that was shared. We shared how we work with the family of the young man who was convicted of killing my son, and then worked to meet with him in preparation for his reentry. And when we shared, somebody shared the platform with us, or invited us to share the platform with them. It was a white woman who was shot by a young Black kid, and she forgave him. And that was the evolution of her. And she provided a space for us to share what we were doing from the victim's perspective. And when we heard the word restorative justice, we said, oh, justice is one of our principles of peace, and our focus is peace. But again, healing, survivor-led, offender-sensitive, and then again, healing-centered. And so I think for me, I come at it from, again, the community-based perspective and the evolution of the concept of restorative justice. Then there's transformational justice, and then there's equal justice. There's so many levels of the concept of restorative justice, yet with the same outcome. Survivor, centered, trauma-informed, community engagement where healing is central to it. So when we started this, we really started with teaching peace through literature and community service learning, where we are providing the tools for the teachers and for the young people to talk about the ongoing racism and injustice in the novels that they're reading and how do they connect it with them. And within that part of our work was the young people were able to see that they have a commitment, yet if things don't change, because we're still waiting till people are criminalized, to then want to talk about justice. And so for me, it's still on unpacking the many different definitions of restorative justice. And I think at the same time, making sure that we bring it back, that again, is those of us, people of color, to make sure that we elevate that and bring it to the forefront. And thank you for inviting us to be a part of this conversation, that we're not waiting for it to happen on the news or for who the criminal, I don't even call it justice system, the criminal legal system, for them to feel who is worthy of going through this concept and this process. So the definitions of restorative justice, again, there's so many different definitions of it, but I think for us is, again, that survivor-led, offender-sensitive, trauma-informed, and healing-centered. So while we don't use the word restorative justice, the practices of restorative justice are ingrained in everything that we do.
That is important. This is, it's such an important conversation. The way I come to restorative justice is my children are part of a school community that's gone through, some very difficult and challenging times with violence and just lots of harm. And the term has been brought up many times. And I'm friends with circle keepers who are able to explain it to me, but when I'm in a room with other people and I hear their confusion about restorative justice, because they are hearing about it from the news as a criminal justice technique, and I just feel like, people will be hearing more and more about this, and different communities will be accessing it, and it's important to understand where it comes from. So what it sounds like, what I heard from you, is that if it's taken out of the context of a crime victim and a perpetrator, it could be said that restorative justice is a practice of listening to the offended, whether that be an individual or a community, and having conversations with the offender. And the goal is to promote healing and coming together.
And accountability.
Yeah, and not just the offender, for us, is that offender's family needs to be a part of this.
Okay.
Because many times the family is not integral on the offender side, and when their loved ones come out and they're doing the right thing, they may go through it. But making sure that we bring whoever that caregiver is, because I call them the silent survivors. Right. And then that circle, that retaliatory violence continues. And then these families are then criminalized because of the negative impact that their loved one who was murdered now has, because it's their criminal records that will then be, again, put out within the system.
Thank you for clarifying that. And you were about to say...
And I was about to say that the foundation of circles, restorative justice circles, is relationship building. Mm-hmm. It's about establishing and maintaining relationships, and recognizing that that everyone in the community is needed for what they bring. People make mistakes and they need to be held accountable for those mistakes. But and everyone that's involved needs to have a say in that process. And so, but the foundation is relationship building, because behavior is relational. The relationship you have with someone determines how you are with them. And so, particularly in the school system, we've seen circles when they're done with efficacy, change the school culture.
Yeah.
We, so it's about...
Give us an example of how, or maybe, I'm sure it's too big for the time we have here today, but what's a small example of how a circle could begin the change of a culture in a school?
When I worked at I worked at the Curly School, and there was a food fight in the cafeteria, and it was out of control. And the principal decided, he really didn't know how to what to do about it, so we decided that it would be dealt with in a restorative manner. And so we had circles in different classrooms. And
when you say circle,
restorative justice
do you
circles.
actually
we sit in a circle?
Okay. Because it's important to face each other?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, we sit in a circle, and a circle represents a gestalt, a completeness. And in the circle, there's no leader. My voice is no more important than a student or anyone else. We have circle keepers, but everyone in the circle has a voice. We need to hear from everyone. Now, if people decide that they don't want to speak, that's perfectly fine. But we have a circle, we have a talking piece, and then we have a set of questions in response to whatever happens. And so in response to this food fight, students had circles in the individual classrooms, and out of that came the idea that instead of having janitors go down and clean all that mess up, students would. And they had the opportunity to hear what their classmates were saying, why it happened, what they could have done differently. And so it changed the culture of the school to the extent that one of the young ladies in the group that I was in said she was pissed and she wanted to get the person who threw something at her. And by the end of it, she had changed her mindset. I mean, when you hear people's stories, it impacts you in some way. There's no doubt. And
Yes.
And oftentimes young people don't have the opportunity or don't take the time to listen to other people's stories, nor do they have the opportunity to hear the stories of their adults. And so when you start
culturally, we're not taught to listen to people's stories, really. So this is also beginning a beautiful practice for young people to see the value in each other's stories, because that is what changes us. That's what builds empathy. It's what builds community.
Right. Let me tell you an experience I had that was just really moving. We were in a class holding circle, and so the question was, who in the classroom do you respect, or who in the classroom do you respect or have admiration for? And the person that most students picked was a student who was quiet and no one ever really talked to. And so it changed his perspective to know that his classmates regarded him in such a way. He would never have known that. And so we don't know what students know more than we think. Young people know more than we think, and they have a lot going on. And given the opportunity to sit in circle and share stories and just share what's happening with you, it's transformative. Our students ran home and the parents were like, what are you doing? And so we ended up training parents at the Curly School. It is teaching them lifelong skills. Yeah. And you have to practice self-regulation when you're sitting in the circle and you have to wait for your turn to speak. And we know self-regulation is a precursor to success. So self-regulation.
To a good marriage, to a good work relationship.
Absolutely.
It's really a precursor to everything.
It's basically, restorative justice circles is about emotional literacy. And our emotional literacy is a better predictor of lifelong success than your IQ. So they go hand in hand. Academics and emotional literacy. That's where when we can couple those two together in a meaningful way, then students are available to learn. Teachers are more available as well to do what it is they do with their students. And we've had circles with staff members they've been profound meetings. Teachers are crying, they're like sharing things that they wouldn't share otherwise. This practice is incredible.
So how can we find out more from you, and how can we find out more from you, Clementina, before we wrap?
For us, and I appreciate that, and that's the importance of the circles. it's no leader. And again, we I don't want to say forced to, yet we're invited. And I think the word is patience, to be still. And it's not about giving someone the answer. So that's the power. For us is, and that's why it says we started teaching peace through literature and service learning and doing circles with the young people and then having them really write about their concept, their understanding, and their commitment. And then they become published authors, Boston's Book of Peace. For us, we do have a partnership with the Boston Public Schools. We do some trainings, yet is that both healing and teaching and making sure that this concept of restorative justice and the circles are not an afterthought. For me, they need, not even should be, they need to be a part of our standard curriculum.
Well, thank you.
It should not be an after school something. It should be ingrained in our teaching and learning.
It sounds like
our system.
This is certainly the case. I really appreciate you both coming to join us. This is such an important conversation. Will you come back and talk to us some more?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
For me, this is great seeing someone who looks like me leading and having a conversation in terms of this important topic. So thank you so much for even seeing the value of this topic.
Thank
because
you.
we're doing the work, we just don't get the attention.
Thank you so much, Clementina Chéry and Linda Solomon. Thank you both very much for coming.
Thank you.
Next up, street art has been an expression of identity, community, and the times in cities around the world, and Greater Boston is no exception. But in recent years, interest in the street art scene in Boston has been growing. And now the city is making a big investment with $3.5 million project with the group Street Theory to paint dozens of murals over the next few years. I'm joined now by local street artists already making their mark, Curtis Williams, also known as Curtistic, and Rixy, whose work can be found in Allston, Cambridge, Chelsea, and more. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I've been a fan of street art since I was a little girl, sitting on my grandmother's balcony, watching the trains go by with the big burners of graffiti artists back then, and know that there's a really vibrant street art scene here before it became, a very popular thing. To you each, I pose this question to both of you, what role does street art play in our communities? Rixy.
For sure. I feel like for our communities, seeing a big wall means you could put a big message. And it's such an accessible way to give art to other folks. It's not institutionalized. There's nobody telling you what's right, wrong, highbrow, lowbrow. It's really for the people, by the people. And it's such a great way to bring us together and say that's ours,
I love that.
Yeah, same. I'll piggyback off what she said. I feel like people have always drawn and painted on walls, since caveman times. So it's just something almost intuitive for people to do this type of creativity. So for it to be on this scale and these large walls, it just makes it more empowering and brings something new to the community.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I see in both of your work the graffiti of my youth. I see in your work it's futuristic but also very naturalistic at the same time. And Curtis, you have giant dinosaurs, remind me of the old creature feature movies and Godzilla.
Right.
Where do you get your inspiration for your work?
Well, I grew up in Japan when I was younger, and that inspiration with anime and Pokemon and kaiju movies like Godzilla and different things that are just larger than life. It just sparked something in me to use that as the reference point to, showcase the creativity, I guess. Yeah.
What about you? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I grew up on cartoons, graph, a lot of media like anime too, so I always was I wanted to see cartoon girls that looked like me or looked like my family, and that was the biggest struggle. So where I'm at now is creating these worlds and building around femme empowerment, so that way I see something that represents me a lot more and represents my family in a way that's like, you know what, we're also that big and bold, that superhero that we didn't get to see growing up, and now you get to see it like right outside your window, you know, and having worlds that make us feel more like inclusive and safe and using our imagination for that is like the best feeling.
That is so important. And you were gonna piggyback on that?
Oh no, I think that's perfect. I totally
think we
agree.
both do like world building because we see how like all that joy and fun is like really what we need right now in the world, you know? Like we need to see like these dinosaurs and characters just like having their own exploration, you know, so that way we feel inspired to do it.
Right.
So there's been this really big shift since the days that graffiti was seen as vandalism. You know, what do you think, where do you think that shift began? And what do you think triggered it?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. I feel like it's that essentially that's not even what graffiti was about. Like the acceptance of it was a counterculture, you know, when it began, and then over the years it became something that's more acceptable. You know, people love the aesthetic, and now you start to see it everywhere. But I kind of think it became a thing more so around like the street art era, changing from graffiti to street art, and something that can be put into museums that the greater society has grown to accept, and has just evolved from there over the past couple of decades, I think.
Talk a little bit about the street art era.
Yeah, that was like the beginning of maybe Shepard Fairey and Obey, and I don't even
like
know.
90s,
Yeah, it was like around
2000s,
early
like,
2000s.
When you were saying like cave drawings all the way up to like murals and then graffiti, then street art, it's like this evolving way to like use walls for messages and like communication, you know, and street art feels like the safe way for graffiti to be accepted, you know, or like this way that people like recognize it a lot more. And like, I think in the movements of like social justice and all this like community care, we're trying a little less of maybe the rebellious, aggressive nature that like graffiti is like beautiful because of it, is bold, it's very loud. But now we're seeing all the ways that we can still do that, but also having like that other intentions and sense of like the other folks around us. So there's probably gonna be more chapters after this too, like, and what we see like public art or like street art can be, for sure.
Do you have, when you're creating your works, do you have a wish for the way people experience your art? Meaning, are you looking for it to help them in some way, or to change their day, or to change their life when you're creating this work on the walls?
At least change their day, or maybe like the next 5 minutes, you know, give them something to post on Instagram. I think it makes you jovial, you know, seeing something new and vibrant and larger than life. It makes it, it gives people something cool to do and experience in life, other than just blank brick walls everywhere. So, yeah.
That is so true. I know when I travel, that's the thing that I remember over the food, over the traffic or anything, is the street art. And
architecture,
I always,
plays like grand role in how
It's
you
your
view
day-to-day
your city.
stuff, you know? Like, it could be right outside your bus stop, and you're just gonna always remember that that's there, and it gives that person impact, inspiration, a conversation. And architecture feels so, like, gray and brick and red sometimes, so it's like having that vibrancy, I think, is just like, you know what, let's help that person feel and have a better day, for sure.
I feel like it gives you something to meditate on, too. You know, there's this beautiful piece that just kind of appeared not too far from where I live, and it's a woman of color in tree pose, and it's just massive. It's the whole side of a building, and every time I see it, it invokes something different and something different to think about for the day. You know, maybe I'm having a terrible day and I'm like, oh, that's traffic and I'm running late, but it makes me pause and really reflect on things. So the city commissioned you to do a mural. What was that process like? You being a muralist already, what was the process of the city reaching out to you? What was that like for you?
Yeah, that was awesome. It was beautiful to, like, when we're talking about shifting in chapters, it's like there's one way you're doing graph and street art on your own, or like asking your local neighbor for a wall. But when the city's like recognizing that impact of murals and what that message can do, like what you were saying, and responding to folks, it was beautiful. beautiful, and it was really aligned with the work I was doing with like femme empowering. So with the City Project, it was to honor Rita Hester, which is a Black transgender woman who was murdered in Austin back in like the 80s or 90s. And for that, I was like, yes, we need to take up this wall. We need to put her large, big, proud in a space so people can continue to like breathe that life and that legacy. So it was a lovely conversation, but again, like the community is so small that it didn't feel like that weird professional tension. It was just like, hey, do you want to paint and do this? Do you want to like, of course there was application and the logistical things, but it was just like, no, of course, let's do it, you know? And it was very like, when you know that you could do it, like, you're just like, yeah, let's do it. We got that, you know? Like, and you want to do it. It's like very much an honor to have that conversation.
And you had a lot of involvement with the community around Rita, with her family and the community.
Yeah, that's really important to me, actually. Like, if I'm gonna leave a piece in your neighborhood and it's about something else, like, it's not for me necessarily, and I don't wanna play that selfish game where it's like, hey, that's outside your wall, that's for that family, like, y'all have to be here to have this conversation. Really, I'm just kind of the messenger almost, you know, in being able to paint that like larger conversation. So they needed to be involved and they definitely wanted to, and it was like a beautiful celebration, and to see the family, like that made me, it was so cute. It was very emotional.
That sounds so beautiful. In a tweet form, 140 characters or less, do you have any advice for young artists out here trying to get their work up?
Twitter form. Hashtag emoji.
You're right. Just keep creating. You know, do whatever you can to learn. You know, stay a student. Essentially, look up YouTube channels that you can find, YouTube videos. Seek mentorship. You know, talk to people. Try to be active in your community.
This
and
is
just
great.
keep creating and draw as much as you can.
Great advice. Thank you both so much for joining me today. This has been a really great conversation. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Rixy.
Thank you for having us. This is so fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more information on these artists and where you can find street art in Boston, go to boston.gov/departments/arts and culture. That's it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Bethany Van Delft. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Donut time.